Heather Spoorthy, my name is Ellen, and I'll be correcting this essay for you today. So let's take a look at what you have here. It's about prisoners, ex-prisoners becoming good citizens. Let's see what you said. The law makes sure that the criminals serve their required term in the prison. Few of these criminals become good citizens after their term at the prison. It is believed that the experience shared by these people will have a greater impact on the teenagers. I do agree teenagers will understand the reality and the seriousness involved in committing a crime. Okay, so there are a couple of things happening here. Well, yeah, there are a handful of things happening here. The first one is grammar. You've got some grammar mistakes, overuse of the, okay, and you're using it incorrectly. So that's the first thing I saw. That's one grammar area that I absolutely want you to work on, how we use the, when we use it, and when we don't use it. And then there was some repetition in the prison and then at the prison. And it was strange to me that you changed the preposition, but it was awkward. Then I want to talk about this sentence here, the third sentence, and then what you actually state as your position. So let's go back to the beginning and correct some of that grammar. The law makes sure that criminals serve the required term in prison. A few of these criminals become good citizens. Now, what I want to do is I want to change this after their term. So it's not that they become good citizens after. It's kind of like they are redeemed in a way while in prison, and then when they come out, they're good citizens. So let's change that. A few of these criminals become good citizens following their release. That would have been good. Following their release. Okay. And then you don't have to use the word prison again because it's implied. And then you're using some new vocabulary words. Okay. Okay. So it is believed that the experience shared by these people will have a greater impact on teenagers. Now, here you've got greater, which I absolutely appreciate that you did because also it says here the best. So you have this idea of comparison. But greater compared to whom? So I have a question about that here. Let's see. Will have a greater impact on teenagers without the. Um, so again, I would have liked you to say compared to whom, okay? And then I don't really care for this sentence because that's not what they asked you. They didn't ask you to agree if teenagers will understand the reality or not. It says, are these ex-prisoners the best people to talk about crime to teenagers? Okay, so that's what you needed to focus on. So here, it is believed that the teen experience shared by these people will have a greater impact on teenagers. Period. Therefore, I believe they are the best people, or I believe they are the most appropriate people to dissuade teenagers from a life of crime. Okay, so this kind of language would have been better because it absolutely very clearly states your position, and you say that, therefore, I believe they are the best people, they are the most appropriate people, because then you're using this idea of superlative like we have here, and there's this, inherent comparison. So then I expect in that essay to read about who you are comparing these prisoners to. Okay. Being a teenager is hard. It is an age where they like to be independent and often get agitated at here you do need the smallest of things. Teenagers are very vulnerable and can easily get influenced by bad company. Many of them get involved in criminal activities such as robbery or possession of illegal substances because they assume it to be cool and fun. Additionally, they are unaware of the consequences of committing a crime and lack proper guidance. For instance, teenagers are often involved in shoplifting since they consider it to be funny and are unaware of the legal implications. So, grammatically and lexically, I'm actually very happy with this paragraph. I thought you did a nice job, and there really wasn't anything I wanted to correct as far as language is concerned. However, there is a problem with this paragraph, and it's pretty serious. It's that it's off topic. You weren't asked about this. The essay never in any place asks you, why are teenagers vulnerable and why do they get involved in crime? There's nothing about that in this essay. Look at the question again. It doesn't ask you to analyze this. Okay? So this whole paragraph is pretty much off topic. It was very well written and I enjoyed reading it, but it's not what the essay has asked you to talk about. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to see what you wrote in your next paragraph, and then we'll analyze what you could have said here. However, offenders can help teenagers understand the law and the consequences of not following it. One law, right? The law. These are the best people to talk to since they can share their experience in jail and the regrets that they have because of the committed crime. Besides, it can even explain to them how the lost time does not come back and how it is important to think twice before any wrongdoing. Furthermore, teenagers will understand the gravity of being involved in a crime when they personally speak with them. Okay, so you did a couple of things here that I really liked. They are the best people to talk to. That's exactly what I want. Okay, I want you to state it very, very clearly. This idea of there's nobody better than these people. They are the best. So that's very good. And then the paragraph pretty much explained why they are the best. So I already told you that this paragraph for me was off topic. So since you included this information here, let me tell you what I wanted you to say here. I wanted you perhaps to talk about people who aren't as good as ex-prisoners. Okay? That was one thing you could have done. You could have said that in many school systems, very often policemen are brought to talk to young people about crimes. And this can be rather impressive because they come with handcuffs, they come with a patrol car, and they describe what the jail is like from the police person's perspective. Then you can say, however, it is not as effective, or rather, it loses its effectiveness because of ABC reason. Okay, so when you do it like that, you say, look, this is a good person to talk to teenagers, but not the best. Okay, you could do the same thing with teachers, or you could do the same thing with parents, for example, or coaches. So talk about somebody who is good, but then talk about what keeps them from being the best person. And then here you can talk about why these ex-prisoners are the best people. Does that make sense? Because there's this idea of comparison, the best people. So if somebody is the best, then there are people who are not as good. Who are they? And that's what I really wanted to see in this paragraph. Okay? So, like I said, you could have had a couple of different people in your paragraph. You could have talked about police officers. You could have talked about teachers. Maybe you could have talked about coaches. Maybe you could have talked about parents. All right? And then explaining why, yes, they're good, but they lack this or they're not useful for this. Okay? All right. So to conclude, it is always great to get the teenagers meet the. To conclude, it is always great. I don't really like that word. It feels very conversational. You're not hanging out with a friend. You're writing an essay. So I would have liked maybe some different language. Let's try it. To conclude, it is always effective to get teenagers to meet good prisoners because teenagers need to understand the implications of committing a crime and how a small mistake can ruin the entire future. All right, let me fix this a little bit. Teenagers need to understand the implications of committing a crime and how a small mistake can ruin one's entire future. So ONE apostrophe S. Additionally, they will understand how time does not come back and how it's important to think twice before committing a crime. Um, okay. I don't really feel like you needed all of this in your conclusion. I feel like maybe just one of these ideas would have been okay. And then you could have had like a nice thought provoking statement or something maybe a little more general to just kind of finish off the essay. Maybe something like, um, therefore, not only do young people learn from the mistakes of others, but these ex criminals feel like they're providing a useful service to society. All right, so something like that would have been nice. Something maybe just kind of leaving it on, like on a positive note, and maybe a little more general. Okay, let's see. You've taken IELTS before. Immigration, fine. Okay, so I'll be honest with you. I thought your essay started out rather weak because of all the grammar issues in the introduction. It got better as it went on. Um, like I said, this was well written, but it was off topic. And so I need you to focus very closely on what the essay is asking you. I need you, one of the things I recommend to my students is spend a couple of minutes looking at the topic because sometimes the topics are deceptively simple, but there is more to the topic than meets the eye. So you need to spend a couple of minutes making sure you have 100% understood what they want from you. Okay, so I would love to see more of your work. I'd love to see what you're doing with task one. Let's see if perhaps you're interested in an essay correction package or maybe the online course. Both are wonderful resources and ways to help get you prepared. Okay, so thanks for submitting this, and I hope to see more of your work in the future. Good luck.